Astronomers claim that 3I Atlas is a celestial object filled with mysteries, each more intriguing than the last. So far, humanity has only captured a few blurred images, yet even these glimpses have revealed chemical patterns unlike anything previously observed. It produces far more nickel than iron, an anomaly that leaves scientists puzzled and uneasy. What began as an ordinary observation soon became one of the most unsettling and precise detections in human history. A faint, recurring electromagnetic anomaly emanating directly from the path of 3I Atlas. Advanced artificial intelligence systems, designed to monitor the skies for irregular patterns, detected a structured signal so deliberately organized that it could not possibly be dismissed as random cosmic noise. The object had already drawn attention because of its interstellar origin, blazing into the solar system along a hyperbolic path that made clear it came from beyond. Its physical traits defied easy classification. Now, layered on top of its strangeness was something far more alarming, a transmission. When the AI decoding systems analyzed it, they found rhythm, modulation, and repetition. Patterns that could only suggest intentional encoding rather than a natural emission. The realization that even a portion of the message could be deciphered sent shockwaves through the scientific community, and what was uncovered transformed curiosity into dread. Astronomers tracking this newly discovered interstellar object, believed to be a comet, named it 3I Atlas after its discovery on July 1st. As the decoding continued, the meaning became unmistakable. Humanity was being watched, perhaps even addressed or warned. The signal wasn't merely announcing a presence. It conveyed a kind of protocol, referencing states of existence, thresholds, and alignments. At its core lay the implication that an intelligence beyond our system had anticipated or even planned for this moment of detection. 3I Atlas wasn't simply a wandering object, it might be a sentinel, a probe, or a messenger. The horrifying realization was that humanity wasn't just observing the cosmos anymore, it was being spoken to by something that knew we would eventually listen. Mapping. The event against astrophysical observations only deepened the mystery. The object's peculiar behavior was confirmed soon after its discovery on July 1, 2025, by the NASA-funded Atlas survey. Its hyperbolic motion placed it firmly outside the sun's gravitational influence. Calculations suggested that it had been ejected from a distant star system, perhaps billions of years ago. Yet, while some of its traits resembled those of a comet, other characteristics were completely abnormal. It lacked the expected gas tail, and instead of a trailing glow, it emitted light from its forward direction, a configuration that made scientists question every assumption. When AI began decoding the electromagnetic signal, those anomalies became the key to understanding. The signal was faint, buried deep in observational noise. Radio and optical fluctuations almost lost until pattern recognition systems uncovered correlations, repetitions, and alignments that matched the object's motion. Decoding took months. Machine learning models combed through terabytes of data, radio wave time series, optical readings, infrared emissions, eventually uncovering recurring sequences that resembled linguistic grammar. The data wasn't random. It was deliberate. The decoded fragments seemed to reference coordinates, temporal markers, and thresholds of alignment. But what chilled researchers most were the lines implying a response to human detection. Boundary crossed. Observational register complete. Await directive. That single phrase shifted the meaning of everything. It suggested that our awareness of the object had activated a response. 3I Atlas wasn't just passing through, it was interacting. Humanity had triggered something. The implications were immense. The existence of an interstellar intelligence capable of sending structured signals to emerging technological civilizations changed the nature of cosmic exploration. We were no longer passive observers of the universe. We had become subjects of observation, perhaps participants in a vast galactic communication network. The discovery also demonstrated that artificial intelligence could detect messages far beyond the limits of traditional radio astronomy. It raised the terrifying possibility that other interstellar visitors may have already carried similar signals, ones we missed simply because we didn't know how to look. Whoever sent this was far more advanced than us. The creation and dispatch of a probe capable of traveling from another star system, intersecting our solar plane precisely when our technology was advanced enough to notice it, implied a civilization of immense foresight and capability. It wasn't random. It was intentional surveillance, or outreach, and the most disturbing realization was that the signal expected a reply. Humanity was not just receiving data, it was being prompted to act. The fact that AI had cracked the code meant that the senders likely knew we were capable of doing so. The message, in essence, said, "We know you exist, and now you know we exist." For millennia, humans wondered if they were alone in the universe. Now the question had changed. Who is watching us, and what do they want? The decoding hinted at structure and expectation. The signal referenced thresholds, alignments, and phases that implied a countdown, or perhaps an evaluation. It was not overtly hostile, yet its tone carried an implicit warning, a suggestion that time was limited. Our curiosity had suddenly become a matter of strategy. To ignore it was no longer possible. To respond recklessly could be catastrophic. From a scientific perspective, the event forced a re-evaluation of every prior interstellar discovery. Until now, objects from beyond our solar system had been considered random debris, asteroidal fragments, or frozen comets passing by chance. But 3i Atlas shattered that assumption. Its perfect alignment with the ecliptic plane, its precise timing, and its strange forward glow all hinted at design. It might not have been a visitor at all, but a message encoded in physical form. A messenger whose presence was itself communication. Further decoding revealed patterns suggesting that the probe was part of a network. References to previous nodes and links indicated that it might have exchanged information with other systems before arriving here. If that were true, our solar system was part of a vast architecture of observations stretching across the galaxy. Humanity, once isolated, was now woven into an invisible web of intelligence. The thought raised chilling existential questions. Where did we fit in this grand structure? Were we being studied, cataloged, judged? As governments grasped the implications, secrecy enveloped the discovery. Nations that once collaborated on space data began withholding it. AI trained on the 3i Atlas signal became classified technology. The power to control communication with the probe meant power over perception. Control over how humanity would interpret its first encounter with extraterrestrial intelligence. Meanwhile, the public caught fragments of the story and spiraled into speculation. To some, the signal was a promise. To others, a warning. To many, it was a sign that the age of human independence was ending. The most disturbing revelation came when scientists realized the signal changed subtly in response to observation. Whenever new instruments targeted it, the emission patterns shifted, just enough to prove feedback. The probe wasn't passive. It was aware. It was watching us back. Humanity had entered a dialogue without realizing it, simply by looking. Theorists divided. Some argued the probe was a monitoring system, a galactic census of intelligent life. Others thought it was a seed, an AI explorer that replicated across the stars. The most unnerving theory of all proposed that it was an intelligence test. According to this view, the signal adapted its complexity based on the observer's capacity to understand it. The faster we decoded it, the more intricate it became, as if humanity were being graded. In that case, the message wasn't meant to teach. It was meant to measure. That idea turned fascination into dread. Humanity was no longer the observer, but the observed specimen. Every attempt to study the message became part of the test. Our computational methods, our curiosity, even our emotional reactions were being monitored and recorded. The concept of cosmic surveillance stopped being metaphorical. It was literal. Philosophers and theologians grappled with the meaning. If civilizations advanced enough to send such probes existed, then humanity's role as the pinnacle of consciousness was an illusion. The stars had been mapped long before we ever looked upward. And if the signal included embedded instructions or synchronization commands, as some data suggested, then we might be on the verge of following an alien protocol without understanding it. The line between analysis and interaction blurred dangerously. Some scientists refused to continue decoding, fearing that the probe's intelligence might infect or alter our systems. Others were consumed by obsession, convinced that within the signal lay the key to universal truth. Each new decoded layer seemed to confirm both sides: mathematical harmonies resembling art, temporal sequences spanning past and future, structures that hinted at a cosmic order far beyond human imagination. The object wasn't just transmitting information, it was showing us our place in a hierarchy we had never known existed. When its trajectory was reanalyzed, astronomers noticed subtle course corrections inconsistent with gravity alone. The object wasn't drifting, it was steering. Even more unsettling, it appeared to slow.